Hey guys, this is John Wagner back with you. I had a cool idea that I thought I would turn into reality here. We're going to take two old cutting boards that were meant for the burn pile and turn them into one big serving platter that's going to be a Father's Day present for a family friend. The bonus is the family friend is actually the person that gave me the cutting board. Now you see I've cut two straight edges to make the join. And I don't have to do this here. I can really just glue it straight up, but I like to sometimes use this dowel jointer that is comparable to the domino, but I picked it up for less than $150. This is an Amazon item. I'll leave a link in the description. Now you see me using a straight edge here for flatness, and I can guarantee you that the straight edge is calibrated and it was perfectly flat. If you've worked with wood enough, you know and you completely understand the fact that things don't always turn out like you want them to. And in this case, just like many of my projects, my work is not completely flat when it comes out of the clamps. Now I've set up the board on the CNC, and what you see now is me cutting the rails that I'm going to use to pretty much act as a spine. That's going to do two things. It's going to flatten this board out, and it's also going to raise it off the surface because I have a real neat surprise to add to this board. But hang on here, we got ourselves a little bit of a problem. I had a hummingbird come into the shop and it couldn't get free. Interesting thing was when I grabbed this tripod, it landed right on the tripod and I was able to lower it down and let it go right out the door. All right, back to work. We're not going to get anything done bird watching all day. Now, what you're going to see me do here is complete overkill, and I understand that. I tend to do that a lot. I've cut some pockets out with a CNC, and I'm going to lay that rail in there that I was cutting out early to act as a backbone, and it's going to flatten out this serving platter. Now, you may have thought that the inlaid rails was overkill enough. Well, it's not. I'm going to add some dowels. And the dowels are drilled through the rails and into the board just enough so the dowel makes contact into the board. I'm going to run a flattening pass on those rails to make sure that they're perfectly flat. Then I'm going to come and add a groove that's going to inlay the serving tray feet that I'm going to put on the bottom of this thing. Now for the surprise feature that I was talking about earlier. I'm going to inlay some magnets that's going to allow you to put either a knife or a spatula. Hey, as long as it's made of metal, it's going to hold it. I'm going to be flipping this board over, so I'm going to put some two-part epoxy on and inlay these magnets on temporarily. I'm going to later fasten them in with screws. Now these old cutting boards have been used very well. They had some deep knife scratches in them, and I thought maybe I'd sand them, but decided to go ahead and go for a flattening pass with the CNC. My CNC is the Shapeoko 4. It uses carbide software called Carbide Create. This software has a toolpath called Advanced VCarve, and that's the feature that I'm using to do the inlay that you see. The epoxy that you're going to see me use is called Epoxy. I like it because it sets up really fast. It's setup time. You need to use it within 40 minutes and then it's going to start to harden after that. The cure time is about 12 to 24 hours depending on the environment. It hardens really well and it looks like epoxy should with half the cost. The color mixes and the combinations are just something that I mixed up and tried my best to make it look like it should. Now, as I go into this CNC flattening pass, I want to say that I started this channel in late 2023, and I really enjoy working in my wood shop and making video content for the YouTube audience. And I want to say here, if you enjoy seeing this type of content, the one thing that would really help out and help me to continue to make content like this, and that is as simple as a like and subscribe. That would be the win-win combination. You get to watch what you like watching, and I have encouragement to keep doing what I'm doing. Either way, if you're here for one time or you want to continue to view stuff like this, I thank you for tuning in. Now, I consider myself to be a modest woodworker. And one thing that I have that I use every day is this vacuum that you just saw. That's my dust collection for sanding and joining and quite a few other things. Most of the tools in my shop are either secondhand from Facebook Marketplace or either the no-name brands like Win and the dowel joiner that you saw earlier. All of the recording I've done up to this point has been done on my iPhone. And my point I'm making here is you don't need top of the line tools and equipment to go do what you love to do. In this case, woodworking. Now to this point, I've added the feet. I've sanded up to 220 following the 1/8 of an inch edge routing. Now it's on to the water pop and then the 320 sanding. Most of the stuff that I use in my shop and I use on this board here will be listed in my description, so you'll have access to that information. That includes the mineral oil that I'm using right here. I always condition my boards with mineral oil and let it soak in about 24 hours. If it soaks it up, I continue to add more. And now on to my favorite part. As a final touch, I always add my homemade wood conditioner, and I add that using a buffer that you see here.